Right, guys. Hello, this is Vikas Chandra Sharma, and I'm going to cover your organization behavior syllabus, which is, I think, one of the most important subject to understand. And it's basically not the subject, I would say. If you just start applying the concept on the daily basis, I think you are going to do a wonderful job with it because it deals with the behavior of the people, which is really very important to understand. Right? So this particular or subject is of 3 credit, where we are going to cover in the next 15 hours. It is divided into 5 units. So first unit is introduction to the concept of management. So what is concept of management? Concept of management basically is the broad set of principles, practices, and the techniques aimed at the efficiently organizing and coordinating the resources. So if you see, I would say the concept of management, has acquired special significance, I would say, in the present competitive and complex business world. We know that it's VUCA word, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, right? So efficient and purposeful management is absolutely essential for the survival of the business unit, right? So it is distinct and distinct and I would say dynamic process involving use of different resources for achieving a well-defined objective. Objective has to be there. Without objective, I mean, it's like rudderless boat. I mean, where you are going, you have no idea about. So, so management is the act of getting people together, right, to accomplish the desired goal. You can say there are various definitions which different authors have given. We can take any one of it. That's not a problem. Let's say Peter Drucker, if you talk about, or Henry Fayol. I mean, these are the very famous name when you talk about the management. Yeah. So, like Henry Fayol says, to manage uh, is to forecast and to plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. So if you see this definition, it is very, very simple, but it also elaborates about the functions of the organization. If you see, it is clearly mentioning that to manage is to forecast and to plan, to coordinate, organize, command, and to control. So these are what? These are the functions of the management, right? Wherein if you talk about the other person, like Peter Drucker, if you talk about, he says it is, management is multi-purpose organ, you know, that manages business and manages managers and manages workers also and the work. So Peter Drucker says that it is multi-purpose organ, right? So if you say, I mean, if you just you can say this thing in a different way, like my management is multi-dimensional, right? So if you see in the next slide, we'll be talking about the functions of management. It is clearly written as Fionn also has also said about, has spoken about the planning, organizing, controlling, directing. So this is basically the function of the management. So management is needed for planning and planning business activities, guiding employees. Yeah, efficient management is needed to order to achieve, in order to achieve the objective of the business. Right. So how this management has started gaining pace, if you know, basically what has happened, particularly, when industrialization happens, wherever we get the industry, we need to have the efficient workers. We need to have someone who understand the business, right, and who can manage the people also. So that is where this management, comes in picture. The person who understands the business as well as he can manage the people also and can get the work done through the people. Right. So when I say a manager is someone who gets the work done from the people, it simply means that he needs to understand the need of the people also, right? He needs to create the conducive environment for the workers to get their work done, right? So if you say about the functions of management, like we are talking about leading, planning, organizing, staffing, or rather I would say directing, controlling. Yeah. So Henry Fayol clearly mentioned this thing, and you can also say this thing as POSCOR, P-O-D, I'm sorry, POSDCOR, POS, right? Where P stands for planning, O stands for organize, S stands for staffing, D stands for directing, C and O stands for coordination, R stands for reporting, and B stands for budgeting. So this is, these are also this is according to the Henry Fayol, right? So, but normally what we say is, when you talk about the functions of management, it is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. These are the five functions which we generally say that these are the functions of the management. Now, if you see, we'll be talking more about each function like planning, directing, controlling, organizing, staffing. When you talk about the planning, it is the basic function. See, planning is at most important. Without that, nothing can. Honestly speaking, you need to plan each and everything. Even if you talk about your day-to-day life, if you talk about the what you are going to do tomorrow, you need to plan the whole day. Otherwise, what will happen? You just land up wasting your time. You will be sitting at one place and you will be, wasting your time. The work which can be done properly in an hour's time, you will be spending around 2.5 hours because you have not planned for it. So planning is at most important, and that is why we are saying that we generally say this, that this is the basic function, right? Basic function of management. Planning is a determination of the courses of action. As I said, even in the day-to-day life, if you want to go somewhere, you need to plan, right? If you want to do your day-to-day activities, you need to plan how your day will get, you are going to spend your day. That's very, very important, So, so planning is systematic thinking about ways and the means for accomplishment of the let's say predetermined goals, right? So it's a systematic way. Planning is necessary to ensure proper utilization of the resources. Resources include what? Human being and non-human being both. Like we say man, machine, material, right? We say that. So both the uh, you know both the non-human and the human both we talking about, and it is intellectual activity. Right? When you talk about planning, it is intellectual activity. So planning, when you have it is very important because it also avoids the confusion, uncertainty. Uh, it reduces the wastage of the resources, right? When you talk about resources, it includes your time also. right? And it includes your raw material also. It includes everything like human and non-human both, living and non-living thing both, man-machine material, right? Like we generally talk about. The second function, if you talk about it, is organizing. So it is again the process of bringing the resources together, right? Let it be, physical or the financial or the human resources, but this is the process of getting the resources together, right? Uh, in a way where we can have the positive uses and efficient uses of these resources. You can develop I would say, the positive and fruitful relationship among these resources, right? So Henry Fayol says very clearly, to organize a business is to provide it with the everything which is useful or its for its functioning, right? It could be raw material, tools, as I said, right? Capital, or maybe the human resource. So if you talk about you know if you talk about the organizing, it is a process, as I said in the beginning itself. So process includes what? It's a process where you first talk about the identification of the activities. The identification of the activities will get the help from your planning. So first you plan basic thing. Then after in the organizing, you actually get to know the identification of the activities, what you're going to do, right? What all things are needed, right? Classification. And then the second thing is classification of, or maybe you can say grouping of the activity, right? Assignment of the duties. Then after you assign the duties and you delegate, the authority. It is important. See, delegation of the authority is important. You cannot do everything by your own. It's very simple. You are there to get the work done through the people, but at the same point in time, you need to delegate the authority. When you delegate the authority, it simply means that the other person is going to take the accountability also, right? So accountability is again there with the delegation, right? He is answerable. He will check. Okay. And then the last step in the process is coordinating with the authorities, right? So third thing comes in picture, staffing. Now, the main purpose of staffing is basically put the right resource in the right job, or probably right man on the right job, right? So it is basically a managerial function. And it involves manning the organization structure through proper and effective selection, appraisals, and the development of the person to fill the roles, right? The staffing basically involves, first of all, the manpower planning, very, very important. Manpower planning, and then we talk about recruitment and selection also, because once you plan that so many men are needed for this particular work, you need to recruit them, you need to place them, right? You need to train and develop, right? Like we generally say TND, training and development. We talk about the remunerations, what actually they get for their work, right? Performance appraisal, promotions. Right? These all things are there when you talk about the staffing. And let me tell you, staffing is again a very, very important activity, I would say, where you need to seriously understand the need of the people, right? People are working for the organization, with the organization. They have got their own objective. They have got their organization objective. Both the objective has to be in sync. It is very important. So while selecting and recruiting people, you need to first understand what is the goal of that particular person in the life, right? What is the objective? So if it is, in sync with the organization objective, nothing like it, because then, the efficiencies of that particular resource will go up, undoubtedly. Right? So it is very, very important. Please take utmost care while selecting people, because once you select the wrong person, your whole team will suffer. Your whole organization will suffer. One wrong person. So staffing is very, very important. You talk about directing, right? When you talk about the directing is basically when you place the people at the right job, right? You need to guide them, you need to direct them, right? There's a part of managerial function, and direction is, basically inert personal aspect of the management, which deals directly with influencing or guiding or supervising, you can say, or motivating also, motivating the subordinates for the achievement. So there are various elements in direction. First is the supervision, motivation, right? Leadership and communication. Now, out of these four, please let me know which is the most important element according to you. Take 10 seconds. Not a problem. I'll count. Supervision, motivation, leadership, or communication. Out of these four, which is most important according to you? I think you must have got the answer. Somebody will say leadership, somebody will say motivation, somebody will say supervision, somebody will say communication. There are four elements are there. But I think out of these four elements, the most important element is communication. Leadership is important, undoubtedly. No doubt about it. I'm not saying that it is not important element. Motivation is also very important. Supervision is also very important. All has got their own roles. But when we talk about the communication, without communication, these things cannot be performed. So these things are important. It's very simple. Communication becomes the most important, right? You need to communicate even the negative things also. You need to communicate the positive things. Until unless you communicate, you cannot motivate, right? And unless you say that this particular product has got this problem, you cannot improvise on the product, right? You cannot, make people feel good until unless you praise them, until unless you appreciate them, right? So you need to communicate everything, positive or negative, whatever it is, but you need to communicate. Then you talk about the controlling, right? You have directed them, now you need to control. It implies basically the uh, measurement of accomplishment, right? My goal is to have 500 units, right? But as of 500 units needs to be done in probably next 10 days, for example. And this is now, 7 days pass, and now still we are having only 300 units. So 200 units are still pending. You need to control. You need to control from the day one that if there are like 500 units, this is just for sake of example, if there are 500 units and it needs to be done in 10 days, so you need to have 50 units per day. If it is not happening, so in the End of the seventh day, it has to be 350 units, but it is not there. So it simply means that you are not moving in the right direction. How you will complete the order which you have got from your client, right? So you will not be able to complete the order. It simply means that the next time your client will not give you the order. He will give order to somebody else, your competitor, and you will lose the market. You will lose the market share. You will lose the revenue, right? So controlling becomes important, and it has got certain steps like first of all, you need to have the establishment of the standard performance. Ideal situation, right? Like we want to have 500 units, right? Then after we talk about the actual performance, like at the end of the seventh day, we only have produced 350 units. It is also possible that at the end of the 10th day, we have only produced 400 units, but by that time it has become very, very late because, sorry, your uh, client has given you only 10 days. You need to deliver the order, right? So you need to start controlling from day one itself, right? We talk about the comparison of the actual performance and the ideal and what you have actually set in the beginning, and then you need to take the corrective measures. So at the end of the day, seventh day, you have produced only 350 units. Now at the 10th day, at the end of the 10th day, you need to produce 500 units. 150 unit needs to be produced. As of now, there were only 5 people who were working on for first 7 days. So there are 3 days left. You need to complete the order. How you will be able to do it? You need to increase the resources in terms of the human resource or maybe probably the machinery, maybe some other thing, right? So you need to increase the resources so that you can get the work done at the getting right time, right? So these are the functions of management. And then we'll talk about whether management is art or management is science. This is one of the very important questions which we need to understand. We need to talk about. At times, people say it is science. At times, people say it is art. But basically, management is the combination of both, right? Management is the combination of both. Uh, you talk about the, you know, the creativity or the intuition, right? Subjective judgment, right? So dealing with the people, this is all, will probably give you the sense that it is art, but when you talk about the, strategic decision or probably basis on certain stats or data, analyzing the data, at that time it will suggest you that it is science. So basically, management is the combination of both, right? Uh, you cannot say that this is only art, or you cannot say this is only science, this is the combination. Right? You talk about management versus administration. Again, this is a question to be asked to yourself that whether management and administration both are same or there is some difference. Think about it for 10 seconds. I'll come back. We'll talk about it. Right. Management and administration, people generally use the words interchangeably. But ideally, it should not be. There is a certain difference. So if you see, we can talk about in two categories, we can say fosters functionality, right? You talk about, and the second one is uh, application or the applicability of that. So if you talk about the functionality, the meaning of these two things are different. Nature is different. The process is different, right? So basis of the function, if you say management is the art of getting things done through the, by directing or controlling the other people, right? Or to achieve the predetermined goal. Where if you talk about the administration is basically the formulation of the policy, right? Broad objectives and the plans, right? And then make sure that things will happen the way we are looking for. Right? You need to do you talk about the functions, right? Administration is more into the decision making, whereas management is more into the executing function, right? For management, you need to have the technical or the human skills, wherein for the administration, you need to have the conceptual skills as well as the human skills. So human skills are needed in both the things, like either management or the administration, right? If you talk about the other part of it, which is the practicality, right? One more difference which comes from the hierarchy of in the organization, right? Management is more into the middle level or the lower level, you can say, or administration generally comes in the top level function, right? You talk about basis on the application or the uses, right? Management is applicable to business concern, right? Basically profit making of the organization, wherein administration is a non-business concern also, clubs, schools, or hospitals, you can say. But when you talk about the organization, of course, top level functions are, generally come into the administration because they are the people who are going to form the policies. They are going to make the rules, right? And then after, of course, management is there, right? Management and administration normally done by, it is overlapping. When you talk about the top management, of course, when you talk about the middle level or the lower level, management comes in picture, right? You talk about the status of management and administration. So management basically constitutes the employees of the organization who are paid remuneration, right? In the form of the salaries or the wages. Whereas administration basically represent the owners of the enterprise, right? Who earn the return on the capital, right? Like generally we talk about all the owners, they are talking about ROI, return on investment, how much they will be getting, right? So management and administration, there is a slight difference. We need to understand this. So I'll stop here. I'll stop here for this particular session. In the next session, we'll cover the level of management. Right, the level of management we'll cover in the next session, and we'll also cover about the evaluation of the management thoughts. Right, there are a lot of people who have contributed in this, so we'll talk about them also, how this thing has taken shape and from where it has started, where it has landed up, how we are using this thing, and who all were the people who have contributed in the management theories, right? So next time we'll start with level of management, and then after slightly we'll move to the theories, right? Evaluation of the management. Right? So I'll stop here. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Family is the genesis of this group.
Family is everything for us.
They know the nitty-gritty of what needs to be done.
We're each other's building blocks.
It has never been two families. It has always been one.
परिवार is सर्वस्व है.
Without family, I think we would lose my sense of direction. So the Marwari Group's foundation, I think, comes from the desire to prosper. Starting with Marwari Shares and Finance, the retail financial services business, and primarily into stock markets and stock broking segment in India. Essentially, we have 110 odd branches across Gujarat, Maharashtra, about 4 lakh customers or 400,000 customers. It's a business that's stood the test of time.
એટલે એ અમારા ફાધરના ટાઈમથી આવ્યું છે કે આપણે કોઈ પણની અપેક્ષા વગર કોઈને પણ સપોર્ટ કરવો કે એવું નહોતું એમ કે કોઈ પણ નીડ બેઝ હોય કે કાંઈ પણ ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશનમાં સ્ટાફ હોય એને આપણે ફેમિલીની જેમ જ ગણીએ છીએ કોઈ દી સ્ટાફ તરીકે કે એવું ગણતા નથી એમ.
Then we talk about Marwari University, which was founded in 2009 by my father, and Jeetubhai Chandarana is the co-founder of the Chandarana family.
We started as just 360 students with just 5 classes on ground. But at the same time, the vision was huge.
We are now at 11,000 students, and it's a 35-acre campus.
અને એ બધું 100% વિઝન એનું જ છે અને આખું એન્ટાયર નેટવર્ક યુનિવર્સિટીનું એ જ જોવે છે.
Creating new generational students, helping them to do well in life, needs multidimensional approaches these days.
And that's how we started that let's do something for society and to give something which is missing in this country. So that's how we started setting up this university.
So Marwari Chandarana Intermediaries and Brokers Private Limited. So that entity is in partnership with the Chandarana family, Jeetubhai Chandarana, Nishit Chandarana, and Amish Chandarana. So that's about proprietary and algorithmic trading, where we've got about 1,500 plus traders directly, indirectly working with us.
ત્યારે મેં હંમેશા વિચાર્યું છે કે કોઈ પણ બિઝનેસથી એવી રીતે કરવો જોઈએ કે જે સ્કાય ઇઝ ધ લિમિટ હોવી જોઈએ. એમાં કંઈ લિમિટેશન હોવા જ ન જોઈએ. તમારી જેટલી કેપેસિટી વધે એટલું તમારે કામ આગળ ને આગળ તમારી પાસે હોવું જ જોઈએ.
So far what we are traditional broker with, of course, a pinch of all the new age technology available in our business.
I am a hardcore trader. I am always on the screen. I used to hear the talks about markets, business on the dinner table. So it was always fascinating about joining stock markets at an early age. So that's how I joined them, my father and my brother.
Business and the partnership is just based on trust.
It's not just one person who is going to achieve success. It's all of us together who are going to reach our goal and achieve success.
Most recent business we've entered is Pixin Energy. We've entered energy as a sector and power as a sector.
We have around 200 people now, and one question, when we ask, why do you want to join Pixin? They have, this one standard answer that it's a group, it's a part of the Marwadi family, and that's why we want to join.
That belongingness, that ownership should come if you treat them like your family members.
The most recent business and the latest one is One Finance, which I founded. One Finance is essentially a reimagined personal finance institution.
We started with building it on multiple values and all that, but we just wanted that one word that can define that why do we exist. And then finally we realized that just by being honest, everything else falls in line,
So we offer unbiased, qualified and hyper-personalized advice on one's personal finances.
We have always believed in, building up the relationship with clients and our authorized partners who are, pillars for our success, I would say.
If you don't have people whom you share your success or prosperity, then it has no relevance on its own. So believe family is an effort. As united, we achieve something. And we all 3 brothers, told our father, no, we will not take this risk. But he said, no, I'm going ahead with it, whether you join us or not. And that's how we are today where we are. So it was his courage, his entrepreneurship and his ability to see future. I think that's what made us today what we are.
યંગર જનરેશન પાસેથી તો ઘણું શીખવા મળ્યું છે જે અમને અત્યારે નવું જે યંગર જનરેશન ડેવલપ કરે છે સારી ભાવનાથી સારી રીતે.
They are carrying the legacy forward and I'm very proud to to know that and to share even that. I mean, it's a very proud thing for us.
દરેક વસ્તુઓ છે એ પેરેન્ટ્સે પણ સમજવી પડે કે તમે એને એની રીતે કરવાની છૂટ આપો. એના અત્યારના જનરેશન પ્રમાણે એને આગળ વધવા દો.
They have an open mind to take it to the next level and exploring other ways, the ways that may not have worked for them.
Like every generation learns from new generation. Like what my father couldn't do, we did it. What we don't understand, they are doing it.
I think the Marwari Chandarana Group represents and lives purpose. It represents and lives impact. It represents and lives creating sustainable long-term businesses and organizations. And Marwari Chandarana Group represents taking risks where it matters, not just for themselves but those who we impact directly and indirectly, right? So we employ about 4,500 people across all organizations. We've got about 5 lakh customers, students, so on and so forth. We've designed the business model in a way where the customer and the people's interest, directly or indirectly, is at the heart of our business. So we're a people-centric company. We're not a customer-centric or an employee-centric company. Without our values, Marwari and Marwari Chandarana Group won't be where it is today.